The Hunter and the Hunted. The mountain town of Fiercest looked exactly like 1,000 other small towns scattered across the Pacific Northwest. Unremarkable, quiet, and perfect for someone who wanted to disappear. That's precisely why Kai Voss had chosen it 3 years ago. The morning fog hung between the ancient pines as he loaded supplies into his weather-beaten truck, his breath forming small clouds in the crisp air. Heading up to the cabin for the weekend, Kai. Old man Jenkins called from his porch across the street. Kai nodded with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Yeah, got some maintenance to do before winter sets in. What he didn't mention was the strange energy signature his sensors had detected last night, a pattern he hadn't seen in over a decade, a pattern that shouldn't exist on Earth. As Kai drove up the winding forest road, his mind drifted to the life he'd left behind. Before Fiercest, before Earth became his refuge, before he became just another human trying to live a quiet life. 70,000 miles above Earth, Admiral Thrax stood on the command deck of the Zendari warship Inevitable Conquest, his 4 arms crossed behind his back as he studied the holographic projection of the blue planet. Such a primitive world, he mused, his scaled skin shimmering under the ship's lights. And yet, our most formidable adversary has chosen it as his hiding place. Lieutenant Vex approached cautiously. Admiral, we've completed the preliminary scan. Our sensors detected residual energy, matching the ghost's signature in a remote region of the northern hemisphere. Thrax's vertical pupils narrowed. After 15 cycles of searching, we finally found him. The warrior who single-handedly destroyed our elite battalion on Proxima Station. The one who humiliated our empire and disappeared without a trace. Are we certain it's him? Sir, the energy signature is faint. Thrax turned, his imposing height forcing Vex to step back. The ghost is clever. He's been hiding his technology, living among these primitives like one of them. But no one can completely hide what they are. He tapped a command into the console, bringing up a classified military file. Prepare a stealth insertion team. I want him captured alive. And the local population. Thrax waved a dismissive hand. Minimal contact. We're not here for conquest. Yet, this is personal. As Kai reached his cabin, a sturdy structure of local timber and stone nestled against the base of a mountain, he immediately sensed something was wrong. The woods were too quiet. No birdsong, no squirrels rustling through the underbrush, just silence. He parked his truck and grabbed his pack, casually slipping a hand beneath his jacket to check the unusual device strapped to his side, something that would be mistaken for an oddly shaped pistol by most humans, but was actually much more. Inside the cabin, Kai moved with practiced efficiency. He placed his groceries on the counter, then walked to the fireplace and pressed a hidden panel. The stone wall slid open, revealing a small room filled with technology that wouldn't exist on Earth for centuries. Monitoring equipment, weapons, and a communications array. The display confirmed what he already knew. He had visitors. 3 stealth signatures, he muttered, studying the readout. Zendari military grade. They're getting sloppy. Kai closed the hidden room and returned to the main cabin. He put on coffee and waited. If they wanted him, they would come, and he would be ready. In the dense forest surrounding the cabin, Scout Commander Visk led his 3-member team into position. Their exosuits rendered them virtually invisible to primitive human technology, and their neural enhancers allowed them to communicate silently. Target is inside the structure, Visk transmitted to his team. Sensors indicate minimal defenses. Remember, the Admiral wants him alive. Are we certain this primitive is the ghost? Asked Tekla, the team's tactical specialist. He looks ordinary. The ghost has always hidden in plain sight, Visk replied. That's why he's survived this long. Don't underestimate him. They moved through the trees with silent precision, surrounding the cabin. Visk signaled the countdown for synchronized entry. 3, 2, 1. The door to the cabin opened. I made coffee, Kai called out, standing in the doorway with a steaming mug, though I'm not sure if Zendari physiology can process caffeine. Still, it seemed polite to offer. Visk froze. The human could see them despite their stealth technology. I know you're there, Kai continued calmly. 3 of you. Military formation. Your cloaking technology disrupts the natural electromagnetic field of the forest. It's subtle, but noticeable if you know what to look for. He took a sip from his mug. Now, we can do this one of 2 ways. The first plasma bolt sizzled past Kai's head, leaving a smoking hole in the doorframe. He sighed, set down his mug, and moved. What happened next would haunt Tekla's nightmares for years to come. The human, the supposedly primitive ordinary human, moved with impossible speed. One moment he was standing in the doorway. The next, he was behind Malk, their weapons specialist. A swift movement, a flash of light from a device on the human's wrist, and Malk crumpled to the ground, unconscious. Visk and Tekla opened fire, illuminating the forest with deadly energy blasts. But Kai was already moving again, his form blurring as he dodged between trees. Not just running, predicting their shots, moving before they fired. Impossible, Tekla thought. No human has reflexes like that. I tried being polite. Kai's voice came from behind her. Before she could turn, something pressed against her neck, and darkness consumed her. Visk found himself alone, facing an opponent who had neutralized his team in seconds. He activated his emergency beacon, calling for extraction. They won't reach you in time, Kai said, stepping into view. His earlier friendliness had vanished, replaced by cold efficiency. Now you're going to tell me why the Zendari Empire has broken the Treaty of Proxima by sending military forces to Earth. You know why, Visk spat, raising his weapon. The ghost of Proxima Station, the warrior who decimated our forces and disappeared. Admiral Thrax has spent 15 cycles searching for you. Kai's expression hardened. Thrax? He's here, personally. He swore a blood oath to bring you to justice. Kai seemed to consider this information, then moved so quickly that Visk didn't even see the blow that rendered him unconscious. Back in the cabin, Kai activated his communication array, encoding a message that would bounce through 17 relay points before reaching its destination. This is Spectre. Covenant breach at my location. Zendari military presence confirmed. Admiral Thrax commanding. Request guidance. The response came less than a minute later. Maintain cover. Assess threat. Council is monitoring. Kai closed his eyes and took a deep breath. The quiet life he had built was over. 3 years of peace, ended by an admiral's obsession. On the inevitable conquest, Thrax received the news of his failed insertion team with cold fury. He knew we were coming. He told his senior officers. He neutralized our elite scouts without killing them. A message. What are your orders, Admiral? His second-in-command asked. Thrax's mouth formed what passed for a smile in his species. The ghost was once a legendary warrior. Perhaps he still adheres to the old codes. He activated the ship's communication system. Prepare my combat armor. If he won't be taken by force, then I will challenge him personally. The ancient combat ritual. But Admiral, that's not been invoked in generations. Which is precisely why he won't expect it. Thrax's eyes gleamed with anticipation. The ghost may have bested our technology, but no one has ever defeated me in single combat. Broadcast the challenge to the planet's surface. Let's see if the legend still has his honor. As the sun set behind the mountains, Kai stood on the porch of his cabin, watching as a brilliant light cut through the clouds. The Zendari ship was decloaking, making its presence known not just to him, but to anyone looking up at the night sky. A global announcement would follow soon. First contact between humanity and an alien civilization, forced by one admiral's vendetta against a single individual. Kai's communication device chimed with an incoming transmission. The formal challenge, delivered in the ancient tradition of the Zendari warrior caste. So be it, he whispered to the darkening sky. You want the ghost of Proxima. You'll get him. Inside the cabin, he opened a long-sealed container and removed a sleek, metallic suit that seemed to absorb the light around it. As he began to don the armor he had hoped never to wear again, his mind drifted to the events that had brought him to this moment, and the truth about who and what he really was. The hunter had found the hunted, but Thrax would soon discover that Kai Voss was far more than just a human. Trial by combat. Dawn broke over the mountains, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold. Kai stood at the edge of the clearing near his cabin, watching as the Zendari shuttle descended through the clouds. The sleek, predatory craft hovered momentarily before settling on the ground, its engines releasing a subsonic hum that made the nearby wildlife scatter in terror. He had spent the night preparing, not just his equipment, but his mind. For 3 years, he had lived as Kai Voss, a quiet human with a preference for solitude. Now he needed to remember who he was before, the operative codenamed Ghost, the warrior who had faced impossible odds on Proxima Station and walked away while an elite Zendari battle group didn't. The shuttle's ramp extended with theatrical slowness, revealing 6 Zendari honor guards in ceremonial armor. They formed a path, and then Admiral Thrax emerged. Even among his imposing species, Thrax was exceptional. Standing nearly 8 feet tall, his scaled body covered in battle armor that seemed to shift colors with each movement, he radiated power and menace. 4 arms, each ending in clawed hands, hung relaxed at his sides, but Kai knew how quickly they could move when needed. Ghost of Proxima, Thrax called out, his translator converting his native clicks and hisses into English. Or do you prefer your human name now? Kai will do, he replied calmly. It's been a long time, Admiral. You've come a long way just to die on an obscure planet. A sound like grinding stones emerged from Thrax's throat, a Zendari laugh. Your arrogance remains intact, I see. 15 cycles out-hunted you, Ghost. 15 cycles since you humiliated the pride of the Zendari fleet. I was defending a civilian research station from unauthorized military action, Kai corrected. Your forces violated the Treaty of Proxima. Semantics, Thrax waved a dismissive hand. What matters is that today, I will restore the honor of the Empire by defeating its greatest enemy. He drew himself to his full height. I invoke the Kravax, the ancient combat ritual of my people. Single combat, to the surrender or death. Kai's expression remained neutral, though internally he weighed his options. The Kravax was binding under interstellar law. If he accepted and won, the Zendari would be honor-bound to leave Earth alone. If he refused, Thrax would have justification to take more direct action. And if I win, then I and my forces will depart this system, never to return during your lifetime, Thrax stated formally. But when I win, you will return with me to the Empire to face Imperial justice. Kai nodded. I accept your challenge, Admiral. Name your terms. Traditional rules. Combatants may use personal weapons and armor, but no outside assistance. Combat continues until surrender, incapacitation, or death. Thrax surveyed the clearing. This area will serve as our arena. My honor guards will ensure the perimeter remains secure. Very well. When do we begin? Thrax's vertical pupils contracted to thin lines. Now. Without warning, the Admiral launched himself forward with astonishing speed, his upper right arm swinging a vibroblade that hummed with lethal energy. Kai barely had time to activate his suit's defensive systems before having to dodge the attack, rolling sideways as the blade sliced through the air where he had stood. No formal commencement. Not very sporting, Admiral, Kai remarked, rising to his feet in a combat stance. War is not sport, Thrax replied, circling him predatorily. It is survival. Kai's suit, a marvel of technology that had been gifted to him years ago, responded to his neural commands, enhancing his natural abilities. As Thrax launched another attack, Kai moved with superhuman speed, evading the slashing blades and striking back with precisely targeted blows. The clash of technologies created sparks and energy discharges that illuminated the clearing. Thrax's armor absorbed most impacts, but Kai noticed the Admiral wincing when strikes landed on previously damaged sections. "You've been in combat recently," Kai observed, using the conversation to catch his breath. "Those repair patches on your exoskeleton, not just decorative, are they?" Thrax snarled. "The rebellion in the Orion Spur required my personal attention, but do not think it has weakened me." The Admiral activated his armor's energy projectors, and suddenly Kai was dodging not just blades but concentrated beams of plasma that scorched the ground where they hit. One beam grazed his shoulder, instantly overloading that section of his suit and sending pain lancing down his arm. "First blood to me," Thrax gloated. Kai retreated, using the terrain to his advantage. The trees and uneven ground limited Thrax's long-range attacks, forcing the Admiral to pursue him into the forest. "Running already, Ghost? Your legend exaggerated your courage." "Not running," Kai called back. "Adapting." Unlike the Zendaris' technologically superior but rigid combat systems, Kai's greatest advantage had always been his adaptability, the human trait that had made him valuable to the Interstellar Council in the first place, where Thrax relied on overwhelming force and programmed combat sequences. Kai observed, learned, and improvised. Maneuvering between the trees, Kai noticed how Thrax's armor slowed slightly when navigating obstacles, a calibration issue from the recent repairs. Each time the Admiral changed direction, there was a millisecond delay in his lower left quadrant. Kai formulated his strategy. Drawing Thrax deeper into the forest, he suddenly changed tactics, charging directly at his opponent. The unexpected move caught the Admiral off guard, and Kai slid beneath a horizontal blade swing, activating his suit's kinetic amplifiers as he drove his fist into the vulnerable section of Thrax's armor. The impact created a shockwave that knocked both combatants apart. Thrax staggered, his lower left arm hanging limp, armor system sparking. "Impossible," he growled. "How did you know?" "You favor your upper right side," Kai explained, circling again. Classic sign of compensating for weakness in the opposite quadrant. Enraged, Thrax abandoned caution and unleashed the full arsenal of his combat suit. The forest around them erupted in chaos as energy discharges set trees ablaze and shattered stone. Kai was forced on the defensive, his lighter armor unable to withstand direct hits from Thrax's heavy weaponry. A blast caught him squarely in the chest, sending him crashing through underbrush and into a small stream. Warning indicators flashed across his visual field as his suit attempted to compensate for the damage. Pain blossomed across his ribs. At least two broken. Thrax approached slowly, savoring his advantage. The great ghost, brought low at last. To think that the defenders of 100 worlds placed their hopes in a fragile human. Kai lay in the stream, water flowing around him, as he accessed his suit's remaining capabilities. Main power was failing, weapon systems offline. But the neural interface was intact, and that gave him one last option. As Thrax raised his blade for the killing blow, Kai activated the emergency protocol he'd hoped never to use. The water around him began to glow, energy patterns spreading outward in geometric shapes. Thrax hesitated, confusion replacing triumph on his alien features. What trickery is this? Kai rose to his feet, water streaming from his damaged armor. Not trickery, Admiral. Truth. The light intensified, surrounding Kai in a nimbus of energy that reconstructed his damaged suit and healed his injuries. But it didn't stop there. The human form began to shift, growing taller, features becoming more fluid. The Council chose me as their operative not because I was human, Kai explained, his voice resonating with newfound power, but because I could become human. A perfect disguise for observing developing worlds. Thrax stepped back, recognition dawning in his eyes. Precursor. Where Kai Voss had stood moments before, a being of light and energy now towered, humanoid in basic shape, but clearly not human at all. The ghost's true form belonged to one of the most ancient species in the galaxy, thought by most to be merely legend. The Treaty of Proxima wasn't just an agreement between the Empire and the human colonies, the being that had been Kai stated. It was a test, to see if your species could honor its commitments. You failed that test, Admiral. Twice now. Thrax, for all his arrogance, knew when he was outmatched. The precursors were beyond even Zendari technology, shapers of stars and mentors to countless civilizations. I invoke right of surrender, he declared formally, lowering his weapons. The energy being nodded. Accepted. You will leave this system as agreed, and you will carry a message to your Emperor. Earth remains under precursor protection. The humans are not ready for full contact, but they will be someday. When that day comes, they will need allies, not conquerors. Thrax bowed his head in acknowledgement. And you, Ghost, will you return to your true form permanently now? The being's light dimmed, features becoming solid once more, shifting back into the familiar shape of Kai Voss. I have grown fond of this form, and this world, Kai answered. My mission continues. Earth has much to teach us all, about adaptation, creativity, resilience, qualities the older races sometimes forget. As the Zendari shuttle lifted off, carrying Admiral Thrax and his honor guard back to their warship, Kai stood watching until it vanished into the clouds. Soon, the massive vessel would break orbit, returning to Empire space with tales of the precursor Guardian disguised as a human. But in Pinnacrist, life would continue as before. Old Man Jenkins would still wave from his porch. The general store would still stock too many breakfast cereals. And a quiet man named Kai Voss would return to his cabin in the mountains, watching over a world that wasn't his by birth, but had become his by choice. He was more than just a human, but he had come to realize that being human was more than enough.